Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very different style of podcast today because I am introducing my very first guest here on the podcast in 2025. Her name is Nicole Jones. We're going to jump into the episode in just a second, but let me give you a just quick rundown of who Nicole Jones is and what she's got going for you. I'm so excited for you guys to hear this conversation. So Nicole Jones, I'm going to read my notes here so I don't mess up. She's a therapist, she's a coach, and she's the creator of Awakened Wealth, which we're going to talk about in the episode actually. And it's a program that helps female entrepreneurs break free from money anxiety and finally feel calm, clear, and confident with their finances. This unique blend of brain spotting, spiritual practice, and money mindset work all comes together inside of Nicole's program that helps heal generational money patterns and makes money more easily accessible. And Nicole, all of her unique blend of brain spotting, spiritual practices, and money mindset work all comes together to help support women in healing generational money patterns and make more money with ease. And I love ease. Remember, ease doesn't mean easy, but you can have ease with every process. So we dive into her journey, how brain spotting came about, how it works with her clients, and the program itself, Awakened Wealth. So I definitely encourage you to go check it out. She does mention a free workshop that's coming up at the end of the month. So make sure you go into the show notes to check out all of that and then give her some love. Okay, without further ado, let's get into this episode. Hi, Nicole.
Hi,
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to have you as my official first guest of 2025 on the Let Go Movement podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast and share your journey, your story, your process. We met in a networking group and you said brain spotting. I was like, oh, something I don't know yet. Tell me more. And then I was like, wait, tell me on the podcast so more people can learn about it while I learn about it.
Yeah.
Um, so, first of all, share with the audience who's Nicole, where are you from, maybe what's one thing that you love to do right now, currently in life, and then let's jump right on into what the work that you do with women is.
Yeah, I'm Nicole Jones. I'm located in Longmont, Colorado, so Denver, Boulder area. I'm really close to Boulder, actually. But I'm originally from Iowa. It's my home state, and I love it there. I want to give a shout out to Iowa because not all the people give shouts out to Iowa. I am a brain spotting consultant, practitioner. I've been a therapist for 20 years in private practice, for 10. And in my private practice, I've focused on anxiety, depression, perinatal things, so all things postpartum, all things around babies, mamas, grief, and trauma. And from that, I morphed into this from my own struggles with creating my private practice. And I have morphed into being a money mindset coach because I struggled in my practice for a long time and hired coach after coach after coach and kept trying to figure it out. And then finally, I did my nervous system unconscious work using brain spotting, which I'll talk about it more later, but I knew mindset alone was not going to get me where I needed to go, but for some reason I just kept hitting my head against that wall. So finally I did that and my practice just exploded. And then I started helping other therapists build their practices. And then I was like, I think I'm onto something that's really fun here. So then I created Awakened Wealth, which is a money mindset program for female entrepreneurs. And there's a classroom and courses, and then they do one-to-one work with me using primarily brain spotting and money mindset work.
That is amazing. Can
Yeah.
you take us back a little bit in your process,
Mhm.
that switch from traditional therapist to the work that you do now? That's a lot more encompassing, I find. After having talking to you for a little bit before, your practice expanded, like what you could do expanded. Can you take us back? Because I feel like there's a lot of listeners there that my listeners are like, there's their spiritual women, they're on their own journey of their path, they might have faith-based religions mixed in there too, and they're like a blend. And then there's the other side of the listeners that are just starting out and don't really understand that there is a difference and there are limitations in that traditional sense. but that's not something maybe to not do because I know some people really find it beneficial. But for you, how was that process as a practitioner, as a, a licensed therapist, expanding out and transitioning to where you are now?
Do you mean with brain spotting specifically? Like, you want me to go that far back?
And, no, more just your process of expanding what you do in your practice because you bring in the spirituality point of
Yeah,
view, but that's not necessarily where you would go if you were in your traditional therapy route because of
right,
the boundaries that you have to play
right.
within. So can you tell me about like
Mhm.
expand on your process going from one side of the spectrum to more playing in all the spectrums?
Right, yeah. I feel like for a long time, I try to play within those parameters and not talk about spirituality so much. But as I grew personally and in my own healing, I found that it's such a powerful part of us stepping into our expansion is to lean into the divine and lean into mystical and lean into more spiritual practices. And it's not, like you said, it's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to do that. There are definitely people who can have benefit from therapy and coaching that aren't there, but for me, it is such a root in my own life
Mm.
that it gets hard for me when I'm working with a client who is just like, they're so cut off from that. So I've really started to draw. It's interesting how your energy shifts in your own life. You start to draw those people to you who are on the same path, have the same challenges, and are sort of interested in the same things.
Mm-hmm.
So as I stepped more into my own expansion around spirituality, which I didn't do because of the ethics and the rules and values and all the things we're supposed to like be this person who's, I don't know, sort of empty, which how is that even possible? I don't even know. We're humans. Like, I don't even know. Um, and allowing in my own spirituality, then these things just started, people that were interested. And when I say spirituality, it's like a range of people. I have people who are very, very Christian, and then people who are very like yogic, right? And I don't care where you are in that spectrum. It's like, do you have a belief in something bigger than you are? I know it can be a tree outside. Like
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I don't care. That root, when people have that, they move into expansion so much faster. And they struggle. They're, they're, I shouldn't say they struggle less, but it's just like easier to let go and surrender when you're like, okay, I am cared for. There's something bigger than me. I don't have to control everything. Something else is in charge. So hopefully I'm answering your question, but it was
Mm-hmm.
really doing my own work. And I think I was raised Catholic. I'm now recovering, not anything against Catholics, but for me, it was just not a good fit. And then started doing yoga when I was like 18 or 19 in Iowa, in South Dakota, where no one was doing yoga. You couldn't go to a yoga class in 19, what would that have been like 1992. There was no yoga classes where I lived. So I had books and then eventually I found this lady who did the yoga and then just from there it's just doing those physical practices.
Mm.
Then things just started coming to me like little by little. And yoga's been a part of everything I do forever. And if it's not just yoga asana, it's like yogic, just the philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
And the basic philosophy that I hold true for yoga is bringing the unconscious into consciousness. And that's how we shift and change. And I talk to my clients about that all the time. So
That's
it's just for me,
amazing.
it's just been this long path of feeling into my own spirituality and really letting myself be a spiritual being. And then people just kind of start coming to you. It's like, it's so interesting.
Mm-hmm. Was there like an identity in your practice that you had to let go of when you shifted into um, the direction of practice you do now, where you don't necessarily confine yourself to a label as I'm a therapist
Mhm.
with the traditional labels? Was there a big identity shift for you in that process, or was it really natural and just like of course I'm going this way, and you didn't even notice really
No, I think I had to give myself permission
to drop the label.
to do that, to like
Mm.
let myself be who I wanted to be and do the kind of work that I wanted to do.
With
I
your
really had to
clients.
give myself permission because it felt a little like bringing in yoga or Ayurveda or, these, or even brain spotting. I mean, to me, brain spotting is an incredibly yogic intervention. Even just allowing my clients, just like inviting that in and like, this is a little bit on the edge. You might not be super into this.
Mm.
So I had to give myself permission and trust ultimately that the people who want to be in that kind of container will come to me. And that has proven to be very true.
Very cool. Let's dive
Mhm.
into brain spotting then, because I know it's a massive part of your work. I know that it is. Um, when someone signs up, they sign up for, I think it's 18 sessions, you said. Like
Ah,
that's like the minimum that they're doing to reset and reprogram. So
mhm.
can you dive into what is it? Where did it come from? How did it fall into like your lap? I know you were saying you wanted to reprogram. That wasn't just like mindset work. It was like deeper.
Yeah.
So how did this practice fall into, yeah, let's start there. How did it actually fall into your lap? And then expand on what it actually is.
Okay.
I got so many questions going on in my head.
So I actually had left private practice or left working with people individually um, because, well, I became a mom. But before becoming a mom, I was working in residential treatment. So I was working with really, really hard children with a lot of attachment, trauma, PTSD, ADHD, like all the things. It was really hard work. And then when I got pregnant, I was like, I can't do this work and be a parent. So we decided that I would stay home. And I stayed home and I was like, I don't think I can ever go back to therapy because doing this work with these people where we're just talking and nothing's happening, nothing's changing, it just felt like so hard. So I went back to school and I got my MBA and I was like, I'm never going to go do that again. So then from there, I got a job working at Anthem, which I think it's called something else now, but it was a healthcare company. They provide health insurance. And I ended up working where it was kind of a business job, but it was kind of like I was supporting people in their mental health. And I'm like, it's just a step in, it's just a doorway. And then I was talking to people, I'm going to get there. And then I landed on this team where I was trained in perinatal mood and anxiety disorders. And I was like, oh my God, this was me. I had postpartum anxiety, OCD, panic, trauma. I was like, oh my God, that was all. I just thought what I knew of postpartum depression was weepy. You were in bed and trapped and, couldn't move and whatever. I didn't know what it was. So it's like, and it still lingered with me. I still had the anxiety. I was really, really fixated on my kids' health, my health. Like I would spin out and have panic. And so then I went to therapy, and my therapist had me try brain spotting, and it changed everything. And I was like, oh my God, I could do this. Like, if I could have an intervention like this that's so powerful and so profound, I could actually imagine myself being in private practice again. And I was
Mm.
enjoying talking to the customers I talked to during the day. And I would like, oh my God, you've got to find someone to brain spot you, find someone to brain spot you. And back then, that was 10 plus years ago, not a lot of brain spotting it was not well known. Um, so then I quit my job and I started a private practice and I started training in brain spotting. So it has been a part of my practice the whole time I've been in private practice for the past decade plus because I had such a profound experience from it. So brain spotting is a brain body based intervention that was developed by David Grand. He was actually doing EMDR with a high level athlete. She was an ice skater, um, and she could not do this specific maneuver. So he was working with her doing EMDR. And he had a pen. This is my pointer. I don't know what is going on. Something's making noise on my computer. I'm sorry. um, so he had his pen and he was taking it across her line of vision. And every time he would take his pen across a certain line in her vision, there would be a little jump in her eye. So he said, rather than keep moving, he said, let's just stay here where her eye would jump and see what happens. And so she looked at the pointer, or at his pen rather, and started processing through all of these old memories of her parents being divorced when she was a young child, and the impact it had on her and how she felt, and just all this stuff. And then the next day, she did the maneuver. And she had
Wow.
processed for only like 10 minutes. And he was like, oh my God, like, I'm onto something. There is something here. So then that's where it started from, is he just this one person, he just noticed this little eye wobble. And then he started just playing with that. And then he started showing other therapists that this is what you do, and like watch for reflexes in their body. So at the very beginning, it was just watching for reflexes. So reflexes meaning the eye wobble, a deep breath, a little twitch, a squint, or, a little smile, or like some like
Mm-hmm.
watching the body very carefully, and then just saying, okay, just stay here and
So it
watch this.
starts in the EDM world as for that scanning because he has that background, so it's taking that into consideration, but it's stopping and holding focus when the body gives you a feedback moment. Am I understanding that
That
process
is the way it
correctly?
started. Yes. So it
Okay.
started with EMDR and then watching the reflexes, and then you just stay in the one spot. And then it's sort of morphed. Now there's a lot of different ways that we work with it. So sometimes I'm like taking my pointer across the line of vision, and I'll notice where a client like does something and I'll say, just stay here. Or I'll say to my client, as you're talking about this experience of anxiety, tell me what you're noticing in your body. And they'll say, oh, like my chest is, ugh. And you're like, okay, let's find where that spot is. And it's like, when you look here, does that feeling in your chest get more intense, less intense, or stay the same? And they'll say something, and then I'll check over here, and
Mm.
then I'll check over here. And usually they'll be like, oh my God, why do I not want to look over there? That feels really uncomfortable. And we'll, okay. So it started with us as the therapist, or David, watching the person. And now we work with it a lot where you're just having the clients know where, and a lot of times my clients will be like, no, you need to move it up. No, you got to go a little bit this way. No, no, go a little bit that way. They're like real specific sometimes. And sometimes we're like, that's just the vicinity. That's good. So
I'm getting all the feels over here.
yeah. So the idea is where you look affects how you feel. So if you
Mm-hmm.
ever have a conversation with someone and they're talking about really anything, even if they're thinking, concentrating, but especially if they're telling you about something difficult, watch where their eyes go. Because that eye position, it's like a little laser deep into their limbic brain that's opening a file, and then we're shredding it. So
Mm-hmm.
that thing happened. We can never take away that thing that happened, but we can take away the emotional reactivity to that thing that happened.
Yeah.
And the eye position is an access point into that file,
Oh, very cool.
along with the sensation in the body. But I have lots of clients who can't access the felt sense in their body.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a deal breaker at all.
Right, because the eyes are going to tell you regardless.
Right. The eyes are going to go there. I'm always like, people are like, I can't feel anything. I'm like, well, people brain spot dogs. So if we can brain spot dogs, you don't have to feel anything in your body. It's totally fine.
Have you ever brain spot a dog?
I try to brain spot my little Penny because she's got a little bit of attachment trauma. But um, I don't know that I've been successful quite yet.
I actually, for part of the emotion coach training that I went through,
Yeah.
you have to do animals. And so I did animals, and nobody like gave me feedback if anything came up. And then, so I'm like, okay, I'm not going to work with animals. I know people who do, but that's not me. And then my friend was like, oh, we've got this little rescue dog, and the dogs are kind of all acting really weird. I'm like, can I just tap in and see what comes up? And she's like, yeah, sure. So I did. Like, it's been a year since I've done my training. And she messaged me the other day and she's like, they're sleeping on the same bed. They never sleep on the bed. They don't share things. They like one will go and then one will leave, but they never are like at the same time. And they have like their zones. And now they've swapped zones. I was like, thank you for giving me feedback on the work that I did. That's really cool. So that was just a side note, but
That's
I love
amazing.
that. I love how these processes can be done for any being, really. I have a selfish question to ask you then in
Yes.
this because this is something that I do, and for any when someone brings it up, I go, don't talk about it. I know, just I can't give you an answer. And when I talk to people, I look to their left shoulder.
Uh-huh.
So from my point of view, sorry, your right shoulder, my
Okay.
point of view, the left shoulder. And I've done NLP around it,
Mm.
and nothing's really come up about it, and it's completely unconscious to me.
Yeah.
But when someone goes, "What are you?" or they look at their shoulder, I know that that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a common is there a common theme there when it comes to looking in a particular direction that brain spotting has found, or is it from the perspective of like everybody's different, it all gets wired differently, and there's no one truth or one category we can ever put anybody in?
Correct. There is NLP does, I believe, don't they have like if you look here, it means this. If you look here, it means that. So no, brain spotting is not that at all. We don't, as brain spotting therapists, actually we're supposed to stay in uncertainty most of the
Mm-hmm.
time. And that uncertainty takes us out of this assumptive role where we think we know exactly what's going on with our clients because the thing is when they go to their brain spot, we have no idea. Like David had no idea she was going to process all that stuff about her parents' divorce. She had no idea. She was an adult who knew her parents were divorced and it was hard, but she had no idea it was impacting her performance.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to stay out of that certainty. So no, and my clients can often have 1 week have a brain spot with this, we're working on a topic, and then the next week it's in a different place.
Mm. Because
Or
all
the
the
next week,
wiring is different.
right. Or, but when I work with people with car accidents, the interesting thing is a lot of times the side that they were hit on is the harder side to look at.
Yeah.
That's where there's more activation versus the other side, which is more resourcing. So there's like not the intensity. It's
Mm-hmm.
more calm, relaxed, neutral, whatever. So that is often happens. Not always, but often it's like, oh my God, I was hit from this side and I don't want to look there
It's just the
because it
body's
feels,
reaction to avoid that trauma, which
yeah.
is things like that seem just natural and like of course if someone it's when a dog, let's go back there, a lot of trauma with the legs. Even if you're a kind person, you go and touch a certain area of the dog, they're gonna react because their body's just used to that impact
Mhm.
psychologically. So it kind of makes sense in those cases. Okay, so I'm not going to jump to conclusions then with my own eye fixing. We'll work on that together at
That's
another
right.
point. We'll
It
go
just
there.
might be your thinking spot. Like, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Like, I have a spot where I look when I'm thinking. That's just like where I access my wisdom.
Oh yeah, I'm always like up and to the right or up and to the left for
Yeah.
thinking. But this like talking one, like my husband knows because he's known me forever, that you just don't tell Acacia. You just like she does it, just ignore it. Like he knows that. But new people I meet, I'm like, I know what I'm doing, but I actually don't know what I'm doing because I only understand, oh, I'm doing it because I see that they're looking at where they think they have dust on their, they think they have
Mm.
something on their shoulder. I'm like, okay, I get it. So maybe one day we'll get there. Um, so tell me more about when it comes to the wealth background, because I feel like when we have conversations around wealth,
Mhm.
money programs, um,
Mhm.
coaching, there's there's so much that's in there, and there's so much that um, is unique to the person
Yes.
that's going through it. Like a tool that works for one person may not have any impact on another person. So someone who's looking at their money story and they've tried all the things, they've even gone through my work maybe, and the emotion stuff just isn't touching what they need to touch. What do you say to people who are curious about brain spotting? And what are the things that you notice having done this work for so long and worked on yourself with it, worked on other practitioners in the healing space, grow their wealth consciousness and healed those wounds? What are some commonalities that you're seeing in this work and
Mhm.
in the Awakened Wealth program that you do have?
I would say, well, there's a few things, but the common theme I see is oftentimes what's holding us back from wealth is nothing around money.
Mm-hmm.
So we can have some very specific money traumas. We could have grown up with money trauma where we didn't feel like we had enough, like we were gonna maybe even had experienced homelessness, or it was hard to have groceries, or you saw your parents fight about money. Excuse me. So those things are there, but usually what's underlying that, what I found, is a sense of worthiness.
Mm-hmm.
Am I worthy to receive? Am I worthy to be wealthy? So these things around money, experiences around money, are just kind of ways in to what's really underneath that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think with traditional money mindset coaching, it's hard to go deeper to really get to the root of that, because you can say affirmations all day long and you can write your goals out and you can decide how you want to feel and you can decide what you want to think, and you're using the front part of your brain here. But if you've got 20, 30, 40, 50 years or whatever of feeling unworthiness stashed back here in your limbic emotional brain, that work, you're going to feel like you're spinning your wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my experience. Like I did coaching. I spent a lot of money on coaching. I tried to figure it out. And it wasn't, and I knew, like I said, I knew that I was just using my prefrontal cortex. And I knew that what was really running the show, because I was a brain spotting practitioner, was back here. And for some reason, I don't know why I didn't click. Well, divine timing. It didn't click until it was time. But I so I once I started doing that work, then the other traditional coaching that I had done before, that also started to make sense and work. Then I could
Mm-hmm.
actually figure out how to like shift my thinking, how I could shift how I feel about things, how I could take action. And the whole time my own feelings of unworthiness were not the ones running the show anymore.
Very cool, because it's that direct. I love how you put it, because I often will say when I'm like running someone's bars or when I'm doing the work that I'm doing, we're taking the file from the hard drive and we're deleting the hard drive, or we're deleting the file, we're deleting the whole hard drive, like things we don't need from our ancestors. Like let's delete that. But that eye movement, that connection to the body is that direct lineage. So you're almost, well, I love how this practice also stays out of answers and projections, because I think when we can be connected yet um, in question and in curiosity, the unraveling is so much more dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And the eyes, if that's what the metaphor is, it's a direct line to that
Mm-hmm.
um, file. That's your direct answer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no guessing in that. So
Right.
you're not assuming, but you're getting down to the root that's very clear. And then what I think also is really important to just kind of re-note here is, because especially when people look at these things, they're like, okay, I want like a fix. And you just said earlier, just want to bring this back in, that we can work on the same topic and it'll be in a different position, because we have to realize we don't just have one memory that's attached to all these things. We have many, 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 many. So
Right.
the more unraveling you can do, the you're going to release what you have to release. And I guess I just to tie it in, that's why you do 18 sessions with people, is because
Right.
the
Because
dynamic.
it takes time. Like
Mm.
these things are old. They are, like cemented in your brain, which our brain's amazing. It's plastic and we can do things to help soften and like uproot. But I originally started with only 8 sessions and it wasn't enough. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I still get my own. I mean, and the thing is as you up level, you're going to have more stuff to work through. So as you
Yeah.
make more money, there's going to be new layer, right? It's like, okay, well, I worked on my worthiness to $100,000, but now am I worthy to make 250? Like, oh, I don't know about that. So it's like it's this process that keeps going. But I also was reading this book, The Emotion Behind Money. It's a fantastic book. It's by
Mm.
a CFP, and she's an Ayurvedic person. She's a yogi. She's very practical, and she summarizes what I do. But in it, she says it takes people 1 to 2 years to shift their mindset around money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that makes sense, but I do brain spotting, so it's not going to take that long. Firmly believe that's like a fast
Mm-hmm.
track.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I was just seeing what my clients needed, and also our brains, they want to slide back to what they know.
Yeah.
Our brains do not want to change. They like to survive and conserve energy doing it. So if you go too long without seeing someone, it's really easy for their brains to just like slide back to, I'm not worthy to have this. And worthiness is only one topic, but worthiness is the most common thing that I see. So it's like I want to see people more often to like bring out that story of unworthiness and bring in the expansion. So that becomes more of what their brain is used to.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So um, when people join Awakened Wealth, it's you were
Mhm.
talking about it's a program, but then they also get the one-on-one sessions.
Yep.
How long is the whole process with you then? If you're saying that, there's 18 sessions, what's the time period between those 18 sessions? Like, I'm so curious.
hmm So 3 times a month and then 1 month off. So it's a 6 month program. Right
Okay,
now I
nice.
have 12 classes recorded, and that's just going to keep it because it was, like I said, it was only a 3 month, like a 3.5 month program. Um, but that's changing because my clients needed more. So
Mm-hmm.
I like to do 3 sessions a month and then they have a 1 week off as sort of integration.
Yeah.
And then, yeah,
So
it's
it's
just
really
really,
it's really encouraging people not to like go for the quick fix, but go for the the process,
yeah.
the access. I started changing my wording around when we've done like the one layer and then we're in another layer and people can get really tired of those layers kind of piling on, and I understand it, and it's not from a place of like anything's wrong with you, but when you start doing this work you start getting, I changed it to getting more access. We
Mm-hmm.
are getting more access to ourselves. We're getting more access to what we would like to see in our life, what we want to experience. We are gaining access. And that's really helped me shift how I respond to like, oh, this is coming up again. Okay, old version 3 years ago was going through it to get to where she is now. And now she needs more access to get to the next version. And that's really helped kind of like I just said, respond to it's happening again. So I love that your program is 6 months. I could see it getting longer.
Oh, I
And
believe me.
just
I'm like, should it be a year?
yeah,
Like, but I'm also offering people can continue to work with me if they want to, and
exactly.
it does get to be to a place where it's like I only need to like once a month, right? And then you hit that next access point, and it's like, oh, maybe I need to see you a couple times this month, and that's totally fine.
Yeah. Well, there's
Like,
integration too. You have to see how your inner world now changes your outer world.
yes.
And through our experiences with a gained sense of access to our world, we'll then learn where that new access point is,
hmm
and if we want to access it or not. That always comes up, I think, in all healing, no matter who you're talking to, is you gotta go live. You gotta live now. You gotta go see how you respond in life and how life is responding to you, and use the tools and be in that different state of being. And then you'll notice when that, new platform, that new access point, that, next level is presenting itself, because you'll start to kind of come up against like that resistance, and you'll notice your brain wants to go back into what it knows. But we're like, no, we have more tools now. We have more access now. We know what's possible for us now. What do you have going on right now if people are interested in working with you?
Well, I obviously have my program, my Awaken Wealth program. I'm also doing a workshop on July 30th, mindset shift workshop.
Great.
Stop stressing, start receiving, because that's a part of the thing. It's like if you feel unworthy, receiving is hard. So just like an hour-long free workshop just to get the ball rolling. I will be doing a little bit of group brain spotting on there, which I'm excited, so people get a little taste of what it feels like to have a little bit of a brain spotting experience with not too much of an intensity. Um, so yeah, that's happening. And yeah, those are my two big things.
Very
But
cool. Well, this episode is going to air mid-July, so people will have plenty of time to sign up for your workshop if they feel called to learn more about you, learn more about this work, try it out. I feel like there's always a modality for that next access point, and no one's behind, no one's getting it wrong. We're just on our own journey. So definitely everyone who's listening or watching, if you're curious, I do highly encourage you to check out that workshop or just jump into her program like right
yes.
now. Um, that too, like just give yourself permission to do it now. Um, where else can people find you if they want to learn more about you, connect with you?
I think the best way to get to know me is through Instagram. I post pretty regularly, um, and I am yeah. If you want to get to know me, that's a good way to do it because I am just me on there, just like it would like how you would experience me here, sitting with me. So I think that's the best way. I do have
Great.
websites. I have my Awaken Wealth website, awaken-wealth.com, which I know you'll put in the show notes. But yeah, Instagram is a really great way to get to know me.
Instagram's your hub.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I will make sure everything is linked in the show notes below, and we'll have everything updated for when this launches. Anything else that you'd love for the viewers of the audience to receive from you today?
Something you said earlier about that healing fatigue, which I know we all get, it's remembering that we are, as long as we're breathing, we are
Mm,
never done. We're always evolving. I mean, I want to always be expanding and evolving, and I think my clients do too. My clients are not those people that are okay, usually just sitting around, status quo. Like they're always expanding. So that healing fatigue, it's so real. And but there's no shame in it. It just means that you're breathing. And,
mm,
you know, there's no shame in that. You have to keep going. There's more to heal because we're never done as humans.
mm-hmm.
As long as we're in this flesh and bone, we're gonna be we're in it.
We're in it. And I mean, what better space to be in than a space that has fun with that, honors that, has joy in that. And when you are tired, rest, be,
Right.
relax
Right.
into the time of your life that you're at right now. And then when you're ready, step back into the work. And to have you as someone who holds that space to be all those things is just, I mean, it's great to have in my world, just more connections to that. But
Mhm.
also someone who may be seeking a different energy of space to enter into. This could definitely be something that resonates with you and actually holds you in a container that's grounded and about love and joy and your expansion. And expansion looks so differently for everybody. Like we'll have I'll have a huge expansive moment in 2 seconds. And then I'm like, back to just every day. I'm like, where did that come from? And it happened, but I know that that's a glimmer, and that's a moment of like, okay, that's ready for you now. That's your
Mhm.
space to step into. So the work that you now need to do is to step into that. And then it'll be normal. And then I'll have another one. I'm like, whoa, huge expansion moment, 2 seconds. That's all it lasts. And then, it's the work to like expand into that. So, and then I just be, and then you just got to be, vacation mode, if I
There you
will, but
are.
not because you're practicing your tools every day.
Right.
Welcome to the work, people.
It is you're yes, we're always working as long as we're breathing, and that's okay.
That is great. Well, thank you so much for taking the
Yes.
time to connect with me, share this modality that I didn't know about with the world. I'm very curious about it. So, everyone, jump over to Nicole's Instagram, give her some love, share with her what your takeaways were from this podcast episode. And until next time, everybody, we'll see you around on the Let Go Movement podcast.
Thank you.
Wow, what an episode. I learned so much, and I hope you did too. Let us know what your biggest takeaway from this episode was, and if you're interested in more of these conversations showing up here on the podcast. And just a reminder, Sunday sessions are open. This is my new membership where I guide you through gentle body-based visual meditations, 30 to 45 minutes every Sunday morning. Replays are available for the week for those who are members. So if you're calling in more time to reconnect, reset, recalibrate, let go of the week's shit, let go of the weight of the world that you're feeling, come join us. Come settle in. There's no showing up to fix or be anything that you're not. It's just about being present with what you've got going on right now and letting it go. I encourage you to come meet us on Sundays. Your first Sunday is free. All the details are in the show notes below. Check all of that out. I hope to see you on Sunday. And before I sign off, remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel so you never miss anything that I share. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so grateful I get to do life and conversation like this together. If today landed for you, I would love to hear what your takeaways were. Hop over to Instagram and hit me up in the DMs or leave a comment below. I love reading all of them. And if you haven't already done so, pay it forward by subscribing, leaving a review, or sharing this with someone that you love. These actions directly impact the show and they help us reach a new audience, so I am very grateful in advance. And if you want to explore working together or dive deeper into this work, you can check out in the show notes all my current offers and ways to connect. Until next time, everybody, have a magical and fantastic day.